A year ago, I came across a young woman online urging girls to swear off romance in favor of a crafty girl summer. I found it a bit absurd because who's to say that I had to swear off romance in favor of my crafts? Specifically because I'd even argue that that romance is the driving force behind art. So I would say that romance is the transcendence of simple binary categories within feeling. It's a manifestation of passion and excitement within love. It's a common misconception that romance is exclusive to interpersonal relationships. I believe that it can be embodied in a multitude of ways that go beyond traditional notions of love. Some of the best love songs ever written were written about Patty Boyd. And now I'm going to go into the interpersonal side. It still is a key factor in romance. It's a really big part of it. Some of the best love songs ever written were written about Patty Boyd. Something was released by the Beatles and Layla released by Eric Clapton. My beloved bike is a nod to Patty Boyd because I love Patty Boyd and my bike is named Layla. Just to give you a short rundown, both of these men were in love and famously in love with Patty Boyd, and their songs were crowned by critics as some of the best love songs ever written. Written in first person, Layla's intense longing manifests as almost a love letter. Longing and obsession are touched on, but the main focus is on Patty, and it's like Clapton is trying to convey a message to her. Something released by the Beatles was famously crowned as one of the best love songs ever written by Frank Sinatra within the past 50 years of it being released. Lyrics like "Something in the way she moves attracts me like no other lover," and "Something in the way she knows, and all I have to do is think about her." In contrast to Layla, Something by George Harrison wasn't simply a declaration of love. It was a reflection of it, and a reflection of love in all of its purity. George Harrison's 1974 song My Love in the Dark Horse album reflects deep philosophical inquiry into love, rooted in Vedanic thought and the Bhakti tradition. My Love suggests that only by recognizing and transcending these illusions can one experience the higher divine love. It critiques the hollow materialistic existence, and love teaches that divine love transcends ego and material attachments. It enables individuals to experience spiritual liberation, the moksha. In its tradition, love is not just an emotion, but also a profound spiritual practice.
We die, that may be the meaning of life. But we do language, that may be the measure of our lives.
Tithonus turned into a grasshopper because he wanted to be immortal, and sadly that immortality did not grant him eternal youth in the process. I wouldn't want to jump through such lengths to conquer mortality. Anyways, at its core, life is fleeting and death is inevitable, really. Once spoken or written, language acknowledges the act of creation. Hans-Georg Gadamer, a German philosopher, says, "Language is the universal medium in which understanding occurs." In philosophy, language is often understood to act as a reality construction device. It not only is one's statement, but one's manner in stating it that governs perception. Toni Morrison, and a Nobel baccalaureate, beloved by many, exemplifies how passion and the love of the act of writing shape a writer's craft. By manipulating language, Morrison emphasizes environmental aesthetics, which not only is a passive receiver of information, but also an active collaborator in meaning construction. Her in-work engages readers to respond, to reflect, and become emotionally invested. I'd say that passion in writing is more than enthusiasm. It's a flame that consumes and illuminates. It is that which infuses prose with a sense of urgency, an imperative to be heard and felt. And Toni Morrison's work, for instance, overflows with burning intensity, with each sentence filled with emotion and gravity. A passionate writer is unafraid. They will challenge conventions, descend into the depths of human experience, and won't water down realities. Toni Morrison's work does not shy away from the brutality of humanity and history, nor the complexities of love or the specter of memory. She allows such themes to flourish, and she brings them to life. She renders them indelible. Fritz Leonhardt, in Bridge Aesthetics, conveys that along the lines of beauty being associated with love, the work of depth that conveys harmony, proportion, and depth. Morrison's dedication to her work helps her construct beauty even when dealing with painful matters. Her work is lyrical and structured in a form that mirrors conventions of oral narrative, reinforcing the aesthetic principle that beauty in fiction is not necessarily about pleasure, but about reality and resonance.
My family's expectation, the inferiority of your birth, my rank and circumstance, all these things, and I'm willing to put them aside and ask you to end my agony.
I don't understand.
I love you.
Romanticism emerged as a pivotal cultural movement in the late 18th century, primarily across Europe, as a stark counterpoint to the rationalism of the Enlightenment and the stark industrialization of this era. Romantic thinkers and artists emphasized the imagination as a gateway to transcendent experience and insight, advocating for a return to nature and the sublime as sources of aesthetic and spiritual satisfaction. They believed that through creative acts, individuals could connect more deeply with the fundamental forces of nature and life, thereby gaining profound insights into the human condition. William Wordsworth, a prominent Romantic poet, succinctly expressed this when he defined poetry as spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings in the preface to lyrical ballads. Its fundamental rejection of established norms and celebration of personal expression and emotional depth makes Romanticism inevitably intertwined with creativity. Creativity within the Romantic framework is seen as an innate capability of every individual to perceive and express themselves in unique ways that defy conventional expectations. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe's The Sorrows of Young Werther is another seminal work that prefigured Romantic ideals. The novel presents a young writer whose unrequited love and sensitivity to nature lead to his untimely demise.
Okay. A wonderful serenity has taken possession of my entire soul, like these sweet mornings of spring which I enjoy with my whole heart. I am alone, and feel the charm of existence in this spot, which was created for the bliss of souls like mine. I am so happy, my dear friend, so absorbed in the exquisite sense of my mere tranquil existence that I neglect my talents. I should be incapable of drawing a single stroke at the present moment, and yet I feel that I was never a great artist and now.
It's so cheesy, right? That's how the Romantics were. Through Werther, Goethe explores how nature stirs the soul and fuels the creative spirit. It's a key tenet in Romantic ideology that values emotional intensity and individualism. The novel that I just read the passage from influenced Romantic thought with its focus on individual intense emotional experience and its consequences. Werther's deep connection with nature and his ultimate despair reflected the Romantic belief in the supremacy of personal feeling, not to mention the tragic beauty of emotional suffering. The concept of artistic creativity was imprinted by Romanticism. The Romanticism movement reinforces the human need to drape inexpressible art and find solace in the message of beautiful landscapes of the inside and outside world alike. Cat 1, this is Tofu. This is Jack. Now Tofu is crying.